Which AI is the best one to build a team in Football Manager? Well, we are going to see that right now, as ChatGPT and Claude compete, taking turns in rebuilding a team in Football Manager, where at the end we are going to decide which one was the best one. First order of business was to get which team we are actually going to rebuild, and for that, well, of course, we're going to use our main protagonists, and that is AI. In this case, I actually used Claude and I asked it give me a random Football Manager team to rebuild, and it gave me Plymouth Argyle.
Royce! Oh, let's go! That's class!
Now, how this is actually going to work is pretty simple. Half of the season is going to be on Claude's shoulders to manage this team, and then the second half is for ChatGPT to fix or improve all the problems that Claude causes. Or maybe it's going to be even worse. I don't know. We'll see. So let's go and start with this one. Now, this is a team that we are managing, or rather, in this case, Claude's going to be managing at the start. I sent him the team and this is what he had to say. He sent me the tactic that is FM24 like. Then I needed to remind him what FM26 actually is, or rather it has out of possession and in possession tactics, and it provided me basically the same result, except it provided me the out of possession tactic that did have a different formation. Still, the rules were not correct, which I told him, and he provided me some rules that should be here. He corrected himself, and then also I needed to correct him that, yeah, these tweaks here, that these menus here aren't actually present, and that this is how the out of possession and in possession tactics, or rather the instructions, look like, where he then provided me the result, which wasn't necessarily fully correct. I needed to remind him again that some parts of these menus did not have these options. He corrected himself again, and that's how we got this somehow coherent and a bit managed by myself too tactic of the in possession out possession tactics for this team. After Claude sorted out our tactics, now it was time for us to get some players to play in that tactic, or rather some new ones. Maybe not this washed one. So I asked him what players we should sign and what players we should sell based on our transfer budget and the wages provided here. And he answered with some interesting answers. First, he provided us with players that we should sell. And for these players, well, I was able to sell majority of them and to loan these guys out, but I wasn't able to sell all of them before the transfer window ended. Still, I was able to sell them in the winter transfer window, which we're going to touch upon later, but in terms of signing players, here's what he provided us. He provided us with a rough outline of what we should sign, but not what players exactly. So later I asked him what players exactly, and he provided me these guys, which, yeah, a lot of them are unrealistic. For example, for the striker guys, well, this guy just didn't want to sign. He was like, well, you're too bad. So I went with this loan option and got this guy. For the defensive midfielders, because I couldn't get any of those guys, I asked him for more recommendations, and he gave me these, which, I mean, what are these again? Again, unrealistic, but the most unrealistic option here is this fucking Michael Oxford guy, because guess what? That guy doesn't exist. He doesn't exist in my database, he doesn't exist anywhere, even on the internet. Just this fucking LinkedIn link, and that's it. There is no trace of any Michael Oxford in FM26, in football overall. And I checked the source where it got him from, and guess what? The source doesn't have him. The source is empty too. It doesn't have the guy. He's nowhere on the earth, and I guess if you are Michael Oxford, maybe I should get you, that you're watching this, but sorry, you're not in FM, so I cannot get you, but I couldn't get this guy, so instead I opted for, when I saw him, oh, I needed to get him, it's Del Ali. Yeah, I just needed to get him. I don't care that he's not a defensive midfielder and that he's an attacking one. I don't care, I got him. For the defense, or for the left or right back, I actually got Brandon Williams. He's a free agent that I've already heard from Manchester United, so I was like, well, for this level, he surely should be good enough. Surely, right? After getting the tactic right and completing all the transfers, we were ready to start the season, or rather to simulate the Claude's part. So let's go and do that. We finished simulating, and this is the result in the league. In the first half of the season, we finished as 7th. Well, it's alright. I think this squad was good enough for the 7th place. Maybe could have done a little better, but the difference in points between our neighboring teams is small enough that we can actually overtake them pretty quickly if ChatGPT does his own part. We started the season pretty well, as you can see by the schedule. First 2 months were pretty clear with no losses, and we even won in the Carabao Cup first round against Manchester City, which it's crazy. We somehow got them on pants. Just amazing. I did not think Claude was gonna cook like this. I mean, first 2 months looked beautiful, but later in October and November we showed signs of weakness as we started losing games, and agreeably for some of those games it was expected of us to lose. Still, in December it was even worse, with us barely winning any games and scraping by. Still, in the other competitions, in the Carabao Cup we had a great run before getting knocked out in the quarterfinals by Liverpool, and in the FA Cup we were horrible by getting knocked out by Hartlepool United in the first round. Now it's up to ChatGPT to play his own part, to fix or correct the season and lead us to playoffs, or maybe even direct promotion. We'll see, so let's go. With ChatGPT I've done the same thing as with Claude. I asked him to build me an in and out of possession tactic based on the team that we currently have, and getting him to do that was easier said than done, considering that it was stuck in a time loop that it was still FM24. I needed to remind him multiple times through multiple prompts that some of the things he had given me were incorrect and were just only in FM24 and did not exist in FM26, after which then what he decided to do was just give me non-existent rules in FM, and after that he did the biggest troll ever. I seriously did not anticipate this was gonna happen. What he had done was this: he built a tactic, and I was like, okay, but then the tactic had 12 players. In terms of roles, there were 12 roles, and he was like, haha, well, it looks like I built a team with 12 players, I'm not going to do it again. And guess what? This motherfucker did it yet again. And then I reminded him again that the tactic still has 12 players, and he was like, well, we are going to fix it once and for all, and guess what? He actually fixed it. I was like, finally, bro, finally. But he still was giving me non-existing rules, so I needed to correct it, and then finally things were all correct. After that, it was up to us to actually build a team in terms of transfers, in terms of players, which I asked him basically the same thing. In terms of our wage budget, can you give us what players we should buy? And in terms of this, he was, in contrast, better than Claude. So for tactics, he's worse, but in terms of players, he's better. He gave us actually a realistic recommendation for what we should go for, and I was able to buy or get every single one of those recommendations, or one of the recommended players from the list of the players for the position. And it was good. But the problem was that he was trying to sell some players that I just didn't think should be sold, considering how good they were. I listened to him and was able to sadly on a loan out the rest of the players that we should not have in the team that he told us to sell. And this is it. This is the team we have right now. This is the in-possession tactic in terms of its roles and players. And these are the instructions for that tactic. For the out of possession, it's pretty similar. I mean, the formation is the same, but the roles are different, of course, and instructions are quite a bit different considering we don't have the same ones available for the out of possession, as it's a different tactic. So, after sorting out everything, we can simulate the rest of the season. Let's see which AI is the best one. I believe in you, ChatGPT. At least a little bit. And that belief paid off. As in the semifinals, in the first leg, we won against Wycombe, but in the second leg, sadly, we lost on extra time due to 2 goals that they scored, and the final score was 3-2. In the final, Wycombe actually lost to Stockport, meaning that Stockport were the ones to get directly promoted, alongside Luton and champions Leicester. This is the final table, as you can see, and it was tight in the top half, or overall around the playoffs, but we somehow got there, and in the playoffs lost. Sadly, it is what it is, but I think that the job that ChatGPT had done was a good one. Yeah, it was tiresome to get him to do something, but at the end, his tactics and the players he assembled were good enough for us to go into the playoffs and try to get our promotion spot. Still, who do I think was the better AI? ChatGPT or Claude? Well, personally, I would say Claude was better. Yeah, the situation in the first half of the season wasn't maybe great, coming to the end, but in the first 2 months he was brilliant. Players that he recommended, well, recommendations were alright, but some of them were unrealistic. Still, nothing bad compared to the pandemonium that I had to go through to actually get a proper tactic from ChatGPT. In terms of players, as I mentioned, he was better, but I do think that Claude was a better AI. That's it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you want me to try and assemble all the best...
Clinker.
that you know of and put them in a tournament-style competition where we actually see who the best AI is. Like this video and comment down below to approve that idea for one of our next videos. Anyways, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed it and see you in the next one.